Hello everyone, today we're learning about Mציעא Daf Lamed Zayin. We're going to start Lamed Vav Amud Beis at the bottom of the page. 3 lines up. Omar Rabbi Yossi, so Rabbi Yossi said in the Mishnah, Keitzad alo oises choroso v'peroso shechaveri. Doesn't make sense that the soicha is making business with the cow that belongs to the masker and he's gaining it. He walks away with a cow that never used to belong to him and the original owner walks away with nothing, and therefore the shoyel has to pay directly to the original owner. Omar Rav Yehuda Omar Shmuel, Alocha Rabbi Yossi. Alocha is like Rabbi Yossi that the money goes back to the original owner. Now, we had the first Mishnah in Amafkid said that Reuben gave Shimon something to keep and it got stolen. And Shimon, instead of making a shvur that he could have patted himself, paid Reuven. Now when we catch Levi the Ganev, he gives a kefil to Shimon, not to Reuven. So the question is, also over there, does Rabbi Yossi argue or not? Does Rabbi Yossi also over there said, how is he doing business and getting the kefil that really belongs to Reuven? Or does he not argue over there? It says, Omali Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yehuda, Amar Klon Mishmei de Shmuel, you told us in the name of Shmuel that Cholok Oyer Rabbi Yossi Aparishona. The Rabbi Yossi is also Cholik on the first Mishnah in Amafkid. Aloch K'moisei and Aloch K'moisei. Is also over there Alocha like Rabbi Yossi, or only over here in the second Mishnah is Alocha like Rabbi Yossi? Or Malay Cholok Oyer Rabbi Yossi Aparishona. Yes, Rabbi Yossi also argues in the first Mishnah. And Aloch K'moisei Aparishona. And also in the first Mishnah in Amafkid, the Gabe the kefil, the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, that the kefil doesn't go to the shomer, the kefil goes to the original owner, to the mafkid. Itmanami, we also learned Omar Rabbi Lezer, Cholokoy Rabbi Yossi Abba Rishona v'aloch k'mois Abba Rishona, that he argued and the halacha is like him in the first mission in Amafkid. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Moide Aryeh Rabbi Yossi Bar Rishona. Rabbi Yossi does not argue in Legabe the kefil. Why? Shekvar Shilem, because over there Shimon paid Reuven for the lost item, so now the item becomes Shimon's. Like we said, that we have a umdin of the Reuven's makne to Shimon if he's going to pay. So since Shimon paid, he is kind of the kefil and he's not doing business. He bought it off him and now he's gaining. The whole reason why Rabbi Yossi does not argue in the first case because Shimon, the shomer, paid the mafkid. But if he only said he's going to pay, it's not good enough, only if he actually paid. When it says in the Mishnah, it doesn't mean that he actually paid. If he said, I'm going to pay, even if he didn't get around to pay, he is kind of the kefil. So if Rabbi Yochanan says over there that already by a mirror that I'm going to pay is kind of the kefil, it doesn't fit in what he's saying over here. That over there it's different because he paid. You don't need him paying. So the Gemara, let's change it a bit and say, Moide Oyer Rabbi Yossi Bar Rishona. In the first Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi's Moide that it's not considered that he's doing business. Why? Shekvar Omar Reini Mishalem, because Shimon said that he's going to pay. He took off the responsibility of the money of Reuven. So Reuven's out of the story, and therefore the kefil goes to Shimon. Says the Mishnah. Reuven comes to Shimon and Levi and I said, I stole from one of you a money. I don't remember, was it Shimon or Levi? He comes to Shimon and Levi and he says, one of your fathers deposited by me a money, they passed away and I have to give it back, and I don't remember whose father it was. He gives Shimon a money, to Levi a money, because he was moide by himself. We're going to see in the Gemara exactly why. Shimon and Levi deposited by Reuven. Their money, one money, but then Simon, that the other one doubled the amount. Now it comes time to pay back. They come to Reuven. Shimon says, I gave you 200, give me 200 back. Levi says to Reuven, no, the 200 belongs to me. So what to do? Says Tanakama, for sure each one minimum has a money by Reuven. So Reuven gives Shimon a money and Levi a money. Vashar, the last money that we don't know if it belongs to Shimon or Levi, it's put aside until someone could prove that it belongs to him or one of them will admit. Omar Rabbi Yofi, in Kemai Sidarama, if you do as follows, the liar is not losing, because the liar is the one who really put a deposit of one money, and he's saying now there was two money, and now he's getting his money, so he's not losing anything, so he'll never admit. So what do we do? The whole 300, the money and the Mosayim, we put aside, and therefore the one who's a liar is losing out his money, and he has an incentive to admit that he was the one who only gave the money, and therefore the truth will come out. But if no one admits, all the money sits aside. Said the Mishnah, exactly the same thing, just not by money, by two items. And we're going to see in the Gemara why we have to say two cases. Shnei kelim, let's say two watches, echad yofe money, one gave a less expensive watch, ve'echad yofe elef zuz, one gave a Casio and one gave a Rolex. Zoime yofe sheli, Shimon says the Rolex is mine, but Zoime yofe sheli, Levi says the Rolex is his. Noisin es hakoton le'echad mehem, so you give the Casio, let's say, to Shimon. Mitoich hagodol, and from the Rolex, Noisin me cotton lasheni. You sell the Rolex, and the value of a Casio you give to the second one. Vashar, all the rest of the money, the liar is not losing anything. He's getting his Casio watch back. Everything should be left in its place by the shoyma until Elio comes, and then it's an incentive for the Ramai to admit. Alma. From the first case, two cases in the Mishnah, we could see the guy doesn't know who he stole from, or the guy doesn't know which father deposited him by money, and he has to pay each one. So we could see we moitzi momen misofik from the muchzik. Reuven is a muchzik, and he has to be moitzi momen. And you don't say leave the money in the chazak where it is b'mokim sofik. And I have a steer. Shnaim shef gidu etzalechod. Our Mishnah. Two people, Shimon and Levi, were mafked by Reuven, them money of them Mosayim, them Shali Mosayim, them Shali Mosayim, no isin as them money, them money, Vashaya Monachat Elio. And you don't say that you should pay each one 200 because he's a suffix, he doesn't know who was mafked by him 200, so he has to pay Shimon and Levi 200 Mosayim. You say no, Momen is Bechaskosa, Reuven doesn't have to dig into his own pocket. Omalei. You're asking me a kasha from the first case of the Mishnah where the case of Shnaim Shefkidu Etzel Echod. One's a case of a deposit and one's a case a guy stole. Gezer, when someone stole, they did something forbidden, we make him a knas, and when you want to pay back, you have to pay each one if you're sofik. Because the law of Adisura, he did then nothing wrong, we didn't make on him a knas to pay each one. Says it more, okay. Let me ask you a steer from Pikodin to Pikodin. I'll ask you a steer from Gezel on Gezel. Let's see. Pikodin, what is steer? The Ketoni Reisha in the first case of the Mishnah, in the Reisha of the Mishnah, in the second case, it says, Reuven comes to Shimon and Levi and says, one of your fathers deposited by me a money. They knew that I can't remember if it was Shimon's father, Levi's father. He has to pay each one a money, and that's a case of Pikodin. He didn't do any Issa. And I have a kash from the next case in the Mishnah, Shnaim Shefkidu by Pikodin. In the next case, we say that you don't have to pay each one Mosayim. Amarova, Reisha Nase Kimi Shefkidu Loi B'Shnei Kurichos. The Avalele Meidak. Seifa Nase Kimi Shefkidu Loi B'Krach Echod Loi Havalele Meidak. Tigoin Dafkidinu Tavai Ba'de Adodi B'Chad Zimna. Says Rava Teret. The first case of the Mishnah, Reuven comes to Shimon and Levi and tells him, one of your father of Shimon or of Levi deposited by me money. So the Shoyma, Reuven, has a responsibility to know who he was. It was only one person, or Shimon's father or Levi's father. If you don't remember Reuven who he was, you considered like a Poshea. So you need to pay each one of them. But in the second case of the Mishnah, where one gave 100 and one gave 200, it's talking about when they came in the same moment to deposit it. So Reuven tells Shimon and Levi, guys, you trusted each other. If not, you wouldn't pull out the money and give me the money to keep in front of each other. So when I saw you pulling out your money, one of you 100 and one of you 200, I don't recall which one's 200, which one 100, because you guys trust each other. So it's not my business to remember. Now you're coming and fighting who's 200, it's your problem. I'm not paying for my own pocket. So that's a teretz on the stira from Pikodin Apikodim. What's the kasha of Gezel HaGezel? Says the Gemara, V'romi Gezel HaGezel. Tony Yocha, it says by us in the Mishnah, Omar L'shnayim Gozalti Le'echad Michem. I stole from one of you. Mone. Ve'in yodea eze Michem oyoviv shelecha Michem ifkid Mone ve'in yodea ezu. It says by the case of Gezel that he stole from Shimon or from Levi, he has to pay each one of them. But I mean here, I have a kasha. It says Gozal echad michamish, or someone stole from one of 5 people. But anyway, Ezeman Gozal doesn't remember who he stole from. Each one of the 5 says, no, he stole from me, give me the money. He put the money in between them and he goes away. Diver Rav Tarfon, that's just Rav Tarfon. Alma, what do we see from here? Misfeika, when we don't know who he needs to pay his gezel back to. We don't take our money from the Gaza and say, what we do say, the money is in the hands of Reuven and the Ganev, and he doesn't know who to pay back, so we leave it there. And we don't have to pay each one of them. So it's a stira between the Rav Tarfon and the Mishnah. So we might the assistant Rav Tarfon. So maybe let's say our Mishnah of Rav Tarfon or Tarfon argues. So the Mishnah no. So the Gemara no. The Ketoni Alodai. It says over there about that dinner of Tarfon. Moider of Tarfon. Boimelo Shnayim Gozal Telechad Mechemone. The Einyu there is Mechem Shnoisen Zemone Luzemone. Over there clearly it says that Rav Tarfon admits to the case of our Mishnah that he has to pay each one money. So what's pshat? So without even asking a stira between our Mishnah and the dinner of Tarfon over there, we could ask in Rav Tarfon over there by himself. Rav Tarfon says miniach zela b'nei mistalik, and then he says Rav Tarfon's moide in a different case. He gives each one. What's the difference? It's the same shaila. Said the Gemara, by the 5 people they put it between them and walks off. The kotovile, they're claiming, and he doesn't know who he owes it to, so he doesn't have to pay each one. But by us in the Mishnah, he wants the lot to be yotzei a proper tshuva yedei shemayim. So to be yotzei a proper tshuva, to do ve'eshivas agzela, you have to pay each one if you don't remember who he was. But we didn't best then you only mechuyev to put it between them and walk away. You're not mechuyev to pay each one because no one has a proof that was him. I have a duke that's the difference. The Ketoni, it says in our Mishnah, that he admitted. Why did the Mishnah add those words? Shmamino, it's coming to tell you that the din of the Mishnah they have to pay each one is not an ikar din. It's a din of bo lotzeis yedei shemayim. So we have a teretz from the kasha gezel HaGezel. Omar Mar, we learned Hosom the Kotovile that over there by the 5 people they all are claiming from him and doesn't say what he says. Says the Gemara of Ahaloma Toya and the Ganev himself. What does he say? Who does he owe it to? Rav Yehuda Omar Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav Allah Shoisek. Just 5 people are claiming it was me, and he's just quiet. Rav Masna Omar Rav Masna in the name of Rav says no. Allah Toiveach is screaming to each one of them. I don't know who you are. I never met you before. Says the Gemara Omud Beis. Mando Omar Lo Toiveach lefi the shita that the Ganev is shouting Avol Shtika. If you would keep quiet to all these 5 koido, it's like he admits and he'd have to pay each one of them. Umando Omar Lo Shoisek, and lefi the shita that could be that the Ganev is quiet. Shtika docha, for sure everywhere shtika is koido, but shtika over here is lav koido. Why? Motze Omar Le, he could tell those people ahai de shtiki, the reason why I was quiet l'chol chad v'chad damina dilma ahayu, because you all came to me and you all said it was me, and so I was quiet because I thought maybe it was you, but I didn't know it was you that was admitted. You all came together, so maybe it was you, but I don't know. And therefore over here shtika is lav koido. Omar Mar, we learned in the dinner of Tarfon, meniach zela b'nei mistalek. he doesn't know which one he stole, who he stole from which five. He puts a gzela between them and he walks off. V'shakli kulu v'ozle, do they all? That means whoever grabs it will take it and go. The kasha is, says Rashi, nimtza ze moitzi miyodoi, the Ganev knows he stole it from someone, and now he puts it in between them. He's taking out of from himself. Maybe really he stole it from Reuven, and maybe Shimon or Levi will grab it, to stronger people will grab this money, and Reuven, who's really the nigzal, will never get his gzela back. It makes no sense. Why not? If he found something that maybe someone put it down and he's going to come back for it, and maybe it's lost. You shouldn't touch it, because maybe the guy won't have a simon and he's planning to come back. If you took it, you should not give it back. So we could see, because we're Sophic, we don't know if it belongs to the person. So we don't say, oh, it's a Sophic, maybe it's you, I'll give it to you back. No, if you can't do a proper hashava for sure who it belongs to, you leave it by you. So also here by the gzela, if you don't know who it belongs to, why are you putting in between them and walking away? Omar Rav Safra ve'aniach. When it says meniach gzela b'neim v'mistalik, it doesn't mean that he puts the money in between them and he goes away. No, he takes them to Bezdin and he tells them, until one of you doesn't prove that was him, I'm leaving the money by me and I'm not giving it to anyone. And that what it means, meniach gezela, it means he puts it between them, deal it between yourselves, work out, and when you work out who it is, come back to me. Okay. Omale Abaye l'Rova. Abaye says to Rova, Mi Omer Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva argues on Rabbi Tarfon over there, and he says, you don't say meniach gezela b'neim mustalek. Let's see in a second what he says. So Abaye asking Rava, did Rabbi Akiva say, Lo yizu aderech moitziyosu midei avera? This is not the way how you do tshuva. Until he pays each one of those five what he stole of them. Alma, we could see, what does Rabbi Akiva hold? Misfeka, when you have a sofik, the Gazan has to pay each one, misofik. And we don't say, leave the money where it is when we have a sofik. And I have a kasha. We have here a mother and a son, and the house collapsed. There was an earthquake, and we unreveal the stones, and we see the mother and the son are laying dead. Now the mother has her own Yerushim, and the son has also Yerushim. He has brothers, let's say, not from this mother. So now, let's say the son had no money. We're not talking about the son's money. The mother had money. So now we have here a problem. If the mother died first, so then her son Yarshim her, and now her son's dead, so his brother is Yerushim. This money of the mother. If the son died first, and only afterward the mother died, so the Yerushim of the mother, or Yerushim mother. So that's a suffix. Nofal Abayis Olav Alim. Or Yerushim Ben obviously say, and we should get all the money of the aim. And we get the money of the aim. The din is, Elu ve'elu moedim she'ech loiku. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel will have many arguments about certain things about Sfeikis. In this case, they agree that they split 50-50. But Omar Rabbi Akiva on this, Moide ani bezu, even though the I normally come from Beis Shammai and hold like Beis Shammai, in this case, I agree Shadechosim v'cheskosim that we go after where the money is muchzik. What does that mean? Who's muchzik in the money? It's a machloikis. And Rashi says that it explained it's explained somewhere else in Baba Basra, which Hashem will get there soon, who exactly B'chiskosom is, etc. But in Yonenu, Rabbi Akiva says that money goes where it's muchzik when you have a suffix. So why does he have to pay each one of these five people who claim that he stole off them? Amalei, so Rabbi answered, Hosom, by the case of Nofal Abayis Olav Alimoy, Shemo v'Shemo, we have no idea. Everyone's really Shemon. They could say, oh, he died first, she died first, but no one really knows. So therefore, we say the money stays where it's muchzik. Each one of these five saying, for sure you stole off me. And the guy who stole it, he doesn't know. So Bori B'Shem or Bori Odif, and again, to be Moitzimo and Mecheskosoi. When do we say we leave the money Becheskosoi when we Shema V'Soshema? But one of them is Bori Moitzimo and Mecheskosoi. Correct the Gemara of Masnisim Docha in our Mishnah. He doesn't know and they don't know. He has to pay each one of them a money, and it's Shema v'Shema, and we say we moitzi monim b'cheskoso. So what's the difference between over there Rabbi Akiva and over here Rabbi Akiva? And says the Gemara, "My Rabbi Akiva, maybe I'll mish other Rabbi Akiva. I'll tell you how I know. Over there it says over there, Moide Rabbi Tarfon, the Rabbi Tarfon agrees in the case of our Mishnah. So the man, he has to pay each one. The man Moide, who's Rabbi Tarfon admitting to? Must be the Rabbi Akiva Bar Plukte, Rabbi Akiva who argues with him. So this din of the Mishnah, Rabbi Akiva said it. And maybe you're going to tell me the Mishnah is not Shema V'Shema. Says the Gemara, no, we made the Shema V'Shema. How do I know that the Mishnah is talking about that the Ganev or the Gazlan? And the Nigzolim don't know. It doesn't say that they're Toivehim. If they know, they'd be Toivehim. But then another Raya, Hotoni Rabchia's Bryce, it says clearly, very many that they both don't know. So what's the difference? Why over there Rabbi Akiva says the money b'cheskosoi by nochal abayis olav alimoy, where we Shema V'Shema, and here in the Mishnah by Shema V'Shema we say you have to pay. So the Gemara, Kimnolo, we explained this already. Before Lotze Sidei Shomayim. Now our Mishnah is talking about I don't know if Lifnei Mishur Sadin, but he wants to be Lotze Sidei Shomayim. He wants to do extra, not lefi the Ikar din, and therefore he has to pay each one. And we don't say Ukim Momon Acheskosoi. Omale Ravina leRavashi. Ravina told Ravashi, "Mi Omar Rava kol b'shtei krichos avele lemedak." Did Rava on Amud Aleph say that when someone gets a deposit from two people, no one in front of each other, or a deposit from one person, he should remember who gave what? Why not? V'Omar Rava said, "V'itei mar papa akol moedim." Everyone admit b'shnayim shifkidu etzel royeh. Two people gave a shepherd. One gave one goat and one gave two goats, and the shepherd doesn't know who gave what. That he just puts it in between them and he walks off and let them deal with it. The roya should remember he came at 10 in the morning to give him one goat, and the other one came at 7 in the morning to give him two goats. He should be midayek, and it's achrayus on him to pay back 2 goats to each if he doesn't remember. Over there it's talking about where they put it in his goats without him knowing, and then they told him, "Oh, we put it over there," so he never saw. He doesn't know who put 1 and who put 2. Therefore, there's no kasha. We learned in the Mishnah, the last case in the Mishnah, v'chein shnei kelim. We said the same achloikis of Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi goes, do we put money and money to each one and the shari yemunach or everything yemunach? So by Kalim, by the Casio and the Rolex, we also have the same achloikis. Do we say everything's munach, or you give the Casio and the value of the Casio to each one and the rest munach? Why do we need both these cases? The Ashminanach Kamaisa about the cash. Ba'ikar Mirabonon, that you give each one a money and the shari munach mishum delekep seder, because there's no hefset by splitting 2 money into 1 money, no going down in value. Therefore, you give each one a money, and the other money is munach. Avol behob, in this case of the Rolex and the Casio, the ikab say to the Godel that when you sell the Rolex, now you don't have a Rolex, so very good, you have a value. Who said you're able to ever buy it? The prices are going to go up. You have a hefset by selling the more expensive item and giving part of that to one of them. Maybe they admit to Rabbi Yossi, and then in that case you say Akol Yamunach. And if you would say only the case of the watches of the actual chayfetz, not the cash, maybe only there Rabbi Yossi said Akol Yamunach, because we don't only be mafsid the Rolex. Avol Bahach, when it's cash, where it's easy to split, maybe Rabbi Yossi admits to Rabbanon, they give each one a money and a shari Yamunach, not everything could be munach. That's why we need both cases. Says the Gemara Kash on that, Lamed Ches Amud Aleph, V'otama de Rabbi Yossi Mishum Hefsed Ramai Hu. The reason of Rabbi Yossi that he says why Akoli Munach is because in Ken Ma'ifsed Ramai, if you give each one 100 and the other 100 will be Munach, or each one the Casio and the rest will be Munach, the Ramai has nothing to lose and therefore he'll never admit. And if that's the time of Rabbi Yossi, for sure even by cash you would say, why would you ever have a minute to say that only by a chayfetz he says akol yemunach? It's nothing to do with the hefsed. It's to do we want the ramai to be mafsid. So even in the case of cash, for sure everything should be munach. Meichtesi to have such a hava minute. So the more elo tavai rabbanon nitzrich. Really, both cases you need for rabbanon, not for Rabbi Yossi. For Rabbi Yossi would be enough to say one case. And what's the bigger chiddush? The bigger chiddush are rabbanon, even by a keli, you say you give each one a money or the casio and the rest munach. So said the Gemara, v'lo yuzu af zuktoni. That's a teretz that the Gemara uses normally when it doesn't have no other teretz in such a situation. It's saying not only in the case of the cash rabbanon say that you could give each one a money and the rest munach. Even in the case of a keli, where there's a hefsed keli, afilu hachi afzu. Even in this case, they'll say the same din. Shkoyach.